I have checked and checked and checked, man. I checked all vitals. There are no signs of a pulse. These people are completely unresponsive to everything. The Walking Dead. Yes, these people are the Walking Dead. They have already died and yet they live. Yo, I'm so pissed off. My damn head is hurting. I have a headache right now. I hope it goes away soon, man, because it's only making me madder. Yo, I just walked in the supermarket, right? One of the employees that worked there, he done passed out on the floor, bust his head open. Nobody cared. Yeah, they called 911 or whatever, but everybody is just like acting like nothing happened. It's like not even a big deal. The store owner himself, he came down and he has the blankest stare on his face I have ever seen, bro. No emotions. I told y'all, man, these people have been programmed and conditioned to be this way. These people, this is a taught behavior, bro. People aren't like this. Not naturally, bro. People are naturally responsive to things, especially in an emergency situation, bro. Some people even panic. You gotta actually tell them to calm down. But now, we're living in a time, I mean, honestly, man, I don't know how anyone even has high blood pressure other than having pure hatred. Other than just being purely hateful. Just pure hatred in their heart. Contempt, malice, misfortune. These people look for an excuse to hurt people, bro. That's why they don't look sad when people get hurt. They'll pull out their phone and start recording. Let someone break out in a fist fight right now. I'm telling you, man. You might have one or two people who will try to stop that fight, but the rest, they got the cameras rolling. The rest have the cameras rolling. I'm starting to come down a little bit. I believe in talking through things. Sometimes it helps, man. Sometimes talking does nothing for me. Something needs to be done. And honestly, I'm still kind of feeling that way. Something needs to be done right now. This place needs to be burned to the ground. This place needs to be set ablaze, man. I started thinking about that passage I read in the Bible when Moses, he came down from Mount Sinai, and when he got down there, the people were just doing stuff that you see people doing right now. They were having wild parties. They were having gay sex. They were committing adultery. They were husbands were watching other men sleep with their wives. Excuse the noise. Like I said, I just walked out of the supermarket. There's a guy passed out on the floor there. So you might hear more sirens coming soon. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, the people were wilding out, bro. They were doing some of the most horrific things you can imagine. Idol worship, sexual immorality, adultery, uh, uh, pedophilia. I mean, you name it. You name it. You name it, man. And the Most High God got so furious. Like, man, and I felt it. I felt that anger in the Most High's voice when I was reading this. He was like, what should stop me from setting these people ablaze right now? He wanted to set them all on fire. And Moses begged him. Moses actually begged the Most High God to spare those people. Just like Jesus did, because they don't know what they do. So when I look at things from that perspective, how people don't know what they do, I start to calm down again, because they really don't know. But it still infuriates me, because they should know better by now. We had all this time on earth. How is it we still perishing from a lack of knowledge, man? I don't get it. I really don't understand, man. I mean, what the hell is happening in this place? I just walked past a beauty supply store a few minutes ago. There was guys in there buying eyelashes and nail polish, man. Like, what the hell is happening in this place? This isn't normal, yo. It's not normal. I don't care if you don't like what I'm saying. I'm speaking the truth, man. If I have freedom of speech and I'm speaking what's in my mind and what's in my heart, you're either going to respect it or get lost. You can take a hike. I don't care. Get lost. Don't even come around me. I prefer to be alone anyway. These people are bugging, yo. They do some of the most disrespectful things to the Most High God that you can even imagine. That's not even including all the witchcraft and the sorcery. Yeah, the wickedness was drowned out before. This place is finna be a burning fiery furnace. This place is finna burn. You hear what I'm saying, bro? You can't even say that I'm wishing death on people, because these people worship death every year, in case you haven't noticed. Some of you are out here spending thousands of dollars on Christmas right now. You have to prepare for Christmas ahead of time, or you ain't going to be able to afford your rent probably. You're a dumb. You're a slave. Matter of fact, I'll take that back. You're more like an indentured servant. Being a slave is actually not a bad thing. Jacob was a slave. He told his wife's father that he will work on his land for him for 7 years for a quarter of everything he owns. But he ended up helping him an additional 7 years. That's still less than 20 years. And guess what? He wasn't rich. But this guy was set for the rest of his life. He didn't need to be rich. He had everything a man could need. He had all the means necessary to provide for his family, as he should, as any man should. He didn't have to work for the rest of his life and not spend any time with his kids, really, because he's always at work. For 40 years, 50 years, working 5, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. Your wife barely knows you anymore. She hasn't spent any real time with you in a long time because she has a job too. And it really sucks when y'all work opposite shifts. You probably can't afford a babysitter right now for whatever reason. You gotta take turns with your kids. An indentured servant is someone who's bound to his duties for all of his life. Like the Hebrews in Egypt. The Hebrews in Egypt were literally second-class citizens. They didn't have any rights. They were building a monument in honor of the Pharaoh himself. It was forced labor. He had them building a monument the size of a skyscraper, bro. They would get up early in the morning and work all the way to sundown with no pay. These people were living off of scraps, basically, bro. This guy wouldn't help them with nothing, man. He's filthy rich. He wouldn't even give them simple things like clothing. He wouldn't do nothing for them. He would make racial slurs, actually, even, about them being Hebrews and not being Egyptians. He would frequently do this. He would shame them for not being Egyptians like them. I know this sounds familiar to some people, man. And I'm not talking about the Bible thumpers. I'm talking about in general right now. Somebody heard this story before, you know exactly what I mean. Because didn't that happen over here too? And when it happened over here, they called it slavery. They confuse you, man. They want you to forget your own dialect. They want you to forget what it actually means to be a slave and to be an indentured servant. They're not the same. Jacob was a slave, and yet he was set for the rest of his life. And he worked for less than 2 decades, bro. He only worked for 14 years, man. And the guy was set for the rest of his life. This was a slave, yo. Okay? An indentured servant would never meet those type of pleasures. An indentured servant is someone who works for free or works for very little. And not only that, but this person, their generations, there'd be generations and generations of families that would be stuck in this constant loop, working day in and day out and getting scraps. Almost nothing. So guess what? The average U.S. citizen right now is technically an indentured servant. And see, the sad part is, a lot of the average person, they don't see it that way because they get a paycheck. They think if they get a paycheck, that does not make them an indentured servant. It doesn't make them a slave either. But like I said, technically they would be correct. No, it does not make you a slave, but it does make you an indentured servant. Because you have to work every day for the rest of your life in order to provide for your family. And if you don't, your family's going to suffer greatly. Meanwhile, there are people who are in charge. They have a modern day sense of nobility, if that's what you want to call it, to where they don't have to work nearly as hard and they make way more money than you. I mean, seriously, man. Some of these people, they answer one phone call and only be on the line for 2 minutes, and they'll make $100. Imagine that person making 25 calls a day. Now, who you know in your neighborhood who has a life like that? They're not amongst the common public, I can tell you that now. You are a second-class citizen in your own nation. Just like the Hebrews were out there in Egypt. So that's why Moses did what he did. That's why Moses told him, let my people go. He told me, you will let my people go. You're going to face famine. You're going to face plague. Your children will die. And you know what the Pharaoh did? He was just like the president of the United States. They'll scoff and act like it's just business as usual. Like they don't have a care in the world, man. Capitalism. They call it capitalism because they capitalize off the work that you did. And you reap none of the benefits. You got capitalized. That's why they call this a capitalist society, aka a marketing economy. Everything is up for grabs. The only person that no one checks for is you. And you won't ask questions. You think long as you make enough money to pay your bills, you shouldn't have to. Like I said, some of these people are rich for the rest of their lives. They never had a job before. And you wonder why you don't have it that easy. Because it was specifically designed for you to be his servant. Not the other way around. Like I said before, man, open a successful business right now that makes billions of dollars a year and try getting these same people to come and provide security for you. See how much of them actually show up to do it. I think that would be very interesting to see, and people would know right then and there what I'm talking about. I wouldn't have to even say anymore. Because I'm frankly tired of talking about this, honestly. I gotta apologize to you guys. I know it's dark out here. I'm walking and talking, man. It helps me to calm down. It's dark out here. But what I just saw in the store, that scene I just saw in the store remind me of the ugliness in people's hearts right now. It reminds me why I started staying away from people, even people I was once close to. I started seeing the ugliness in them and myself. But see, the way they see it, I'm only judging them. I'm treating them bad. No, you treated me bad, and now I understand my worth. You can't take that away from me, yo. I'm definitely not going to give it to you. So you can keep dreaming. I'm out of here, yo. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you guys are having a blessed evening. Stay open, stay free, man. Free yourself, man. You don't want to be no one's servant, man. If you're not a servant to the Lord, you're not a servant to anyone. You make sure people understand that too. Peace.